Welcome to the BS Your Way Through Life on the Run show. I needed to go grocery shopping, and the time that I have to do it is when I podcast. And technically, I could have just, you know, skidded by, done another day, or waited till next week. But I decided I was just going to make it happen. I Today's podcast is Words Matter. My and this is applies to mostly to relationships, but mostly to marriages. But you can apply this anywhere in your life that you need it. But my two daughters were um, sort of arguing. They didn't quite argued yet, but like I had put one of my daughters back to her task that she kept leaving, and my her sister, my other daughter, decided that it was her responsibility to put a stamp on my authority, meaning putting a stamp on it as she needs to I kind of backed me up a little bit, but then more not really backing me up, more of like just a snide comment to her sister, like, yeah, blah, 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 blah. Totally unnecessary. And when she said it, I was just like, because the situation was calm, but that comment alone could set the entire house off. Then it would set my other daughter off. She'd be like, "How rude! You don't have to. You can't say that. That's mom's job. Whatever." Then which will make my other daughter retort, which would make my boys jump in and say something, and then all of a sudden we're all arguing. Right? That didn't happen, thank goodness, because immediately I turned to my daughter and I was just like, that comment was unnecessary. It was so unnecessary. Like, it's that kind of comment that creates hurt and drama in families. Like, it's just not necessary. And a lot of family drama happens because, and a lot of drama happens within marriages because we have to have that last say, or we have to say that comment. And I tell you, we don't. What happens is pride sets in, and annoyance and anger, those emotions come in, and they just have to have a say, and it just comes out our mouth because if we don't say it, then heaven forbid we'd have to swallow pride, because pride is so strong inside of us and it just wants to burst free. The trick is to tell pride to take a hike, and I don't need you here right now. The situation is fine. We don't need to make this worse than it already is. We can be peacemakers here, but pride is such a strong emotion, and it's really hard not to say it. Sometimes we say things and then we regret it immediately. We're like, oops, wish I hadn't to let pride get the better of me, and I wish I had said that, right? But so many times we say that comment and maybe we even feel justified saying it. And maybe we even, feel like, and maybe drama erupts in this whole ordeal, and all of a sudden they're so mad and bitter at us or whoever, whatever. And you're just like, I'm justified. But are you really? I don't think anyone's justified in making an already uncomfortable relationship worse. No, I don't think anybody's justified in that at all. I mean, sometimes we're standing up for what's right. Sometimes we say something because it's the right thing to say and it needs to be said, right? But if it's pushed by pride, then it was never okay, right? The right emotion needs to be behind the reason why you say it. If you're saying it out of love, if you're saying something pushed by love and concern and understanding or whatever, and you're saying it because you know it's the right thing to say, like I was caught in a situation. I was asked not to interfere if certain situations went down, and quite a few years ago. And I overheard arguing, the situation I was told not to interfere in. But then I heard what was being said, and not pride, and not because, like, I always stayed out of it and just let it, simmer itself. But this time something was said, and I just felt a righteous pull to get out there and stand up for what was right. And so I did. I immediately went out there and I said what I felt strongly I needed to say, but not out of pride and out of, I want to say this because you're being a brat or a jerk or whatever it was to the person. But I came out there because I knew it was something that needed to be said. And I said it. And yes, it did make the situation temporarily be a little more, but eventually and very quickly, we got it resolved and the person calmed down and whatnot and whatnot. But it was important that I went out there at that time, right? And my energy wasn't in pride mode. It was in, this is wrong. And I'm going out there because I, who else is standing up to write it? Nobody else is. So here I go, right? Do you see the difference? Do you feel the difference as I'm talking about this? I hope you can feel that. So in our marriages, so many times our spouses will say something to us and it can be hurtful because maybe they're angry or we happen to be in the way at the wrong time when they're already frustrated or overwhelmed with their personal responsibilities and their life, right? If you've listened to any of my podcasting, then you kind of get an inkling of what I'm talking about, right? And if you haven't, then you should go back and listen to some of these because they'll help put a lot more pieces together. But we have so many opportunities to have arguments. There's so many times where arguments can be laid at our feet. Don't pick them up. Don't let pride get the best of you. If your spouse lashes out you in anger for whatever reason, maybe it was over something so stupid, or they're upset about how you did something, or they're upset because you forgot something, or they're upset because of the way you said something, don't retaliate, don't retort, don't let pride be the driver of your mouth. Don't do that. Instead, allow meekness and allow humility to come in, calm down, see them, see them. If you've ever seen the Avatar movie, and I love what they do. They're like, I see you. I they're basically saying, I see you, I know you, I understand. I see where you're coming from. I see your feelings. I accept you, whatever type of I love you. It's whatever. So see them, right? Understand, put yourself in their shoes, and maybe it won't even make sense to you. But that's what, again, my podcast back to basics is all about. It's in those moments, you go back to basics. They're a good person and they love me and I love them. Again, I will keep sidetracking here. We are not talking about an actual abusive relationship, someone who is literally and intentionally gaslighting and or physically abusing you or emotionally abusing you. And I'm talking like severe things here, okay? Or manipulating you and things like that. I have been in a manipulative relationship. I know what I'm talking about. So we are not talking about any of those. We're talking about general good people, okay, that make mistakes. You are a general good person who makes mistakes. And I think that your spouse is allotted the same love and acceptance that you hope and expect to get from them because you are a person who makes mistakes, right? And I like this. Something I've been doing for my entire marriage is anytime I get upset about something that my spouse did and that I felt was just infuriating, whatever it was, right? I say to myself, okay, well, before I open my mouth to criticize, what have I done that is similar that may have infuriated them? Or what similar things do I do that make similar mistakes or whatever, whatever, right? And oh my goodness, floods of memories and things that I've done just come in, and I'm like, yep, I do not have a right to open my mouth to criticize. So I move on. I move on. I let go and I move on, right? So in those little moments, the reason why that little petty arguments constantly, and I mean constantly, keep showing up in your marriage is because you refuse to let go of the pride. You refuse to not say that thing. You refuse to not say that snide comment or bring back that memory, right? You refuse to not just move on and swallow your pride. And this is why your marriage becomes so frustrating and annoying, and you eventually start to think, why am I even in it? Because all we're doing is arguing, right? Because somewhere, well, why doesn't he or she bite her pride, right? Maybe you're thinking, well, we can't control what anybody else does except for ourselves. So we can't if we keep putting the responsibility on everybody else, change will never happen. The change has to come in here first. You first have to make changes for any change to be made in your life. Anytime you want something positive and good to start happening in your life, you have to start making it happen. Nobody else can and will do it for you. It's not possible. Change and happiness is here. It's not over there. It's in here, inside of you. Okay. Every time, every situation, everything. Okay. So if you want a happier marriage, or happier relationship with anyone, you need to make the change. You need to start being the one that bites their tongue and lets go. Allow yourself, and again, I've given podcasts on this, little things. I've said this where it's not that you ignore the emotion or bottle the emotion. No, no, that's unhealthy. You work through the emotion. You take a deep breath. You allow yourself to feel all the feelings you're feeling, and then you forgive you and you let go. Forgive and let go. Forgiveness is the healing thing that can help you let go. So the next time that you're standing there and your spouse is huh, saying whatever, right? Just like, I don't understand why you blah, 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 blah. Maybe it's over money. Maybe it's over children and how they handled it. Maybe it's over how long you spent doing something. Like maybe you took so long, if you're a woman and you took a long time getting dressed and you caused, the whole family to be late somewhere or whatever, and you're getting criticized for it. Don't retaliate. Don't do it. We'll say, well, you just don't care about. Don't do any of that. None of that. Okay. Don't retaliate. Just say, I'm so sorry. I do need to work on getting dressed faster, or maybe doing it sooner. But then, of course, maybe you had like, especially if you have children, so and so spilled this. There was a broken glass here, and then I had to. There's a fight over here, and then I had to solve this. I've been running around here and running around there all day. I didn't have time to get ready, so now I'm gonna go home and rushed, and now all I get is criticism, right? And that's what you're thinking in your head. Still, do not retaliate. Don't do it. It's not worth it. Instead, be understanding that they do not understand what at all your day was or where you're coming from. Instead, be compassionate. Say, I'm so sorry I ran us late. And just like today was nuts. I literally like had to deal with, so many poopy diapers today and spills and cries. And then I had to run so and so to this place. And then I came home, which got me then I had to hurry and make dinner, and then, got me late or whatever. And, and, and I'm just so sorry. And just like, there just wasn't time, and I thought I could hurry and jump in the shower and be ready. And I'm sorry it's putting us late. And then having that understanding and doing it in that manner, the manner of like, instead of being like, well, you're just a jerk. You don't even understand how this is, right? That's just going immediately, they're just going to get defensive. They're going to shut out whatever you're saying and they're going to retaliate back because now they're on, oh, we're on war right now because he's just frustrated about the situation, not at you, just the situation. And maybe his day was so hard at work and the last thing he wanted was to be late to this wonderful thing that you had planned or whatever, or maybe it's an important business something that he can't be late to, right? But you need, anyway, this it could be whatever the situation is, or maybe the reverse though, like because he got home from late work home late from work. Now you know, you're running late to the movies and you've been excited and had this whole movie thing planned for months or a month or whatever. And now you're going to be late to it. And it's so infuriating because he's still got to come home and maybe he's got to shower and clean up. And you're like, great. And you're so mad. We're like, why were you late? Instead of being like, oh, I'm so glad you're home. I'm sure you're tired. I'm sure your day was long and hard, especially since you ended up, and just whatever. And then the explanation's gonna come like, I'm so sorry, I'm late. We ended up having traffic, didn't expect, right? You're being open, you're being understanding, you're being loving and glad that they're here. Just like, hey, you know what? It matters more to me that you're home safe than that we make it to the movie on time, right? So you see the different energy exchange there? That is important. Your words matter so much. You say that snide comment, you do that sarcastic thing, and you are going to get a miserable fight. You don't want it. You don't need it. You're no, stop it. Let's have peace in our marriages, love. You can have true happiness and truly have a best friend within your marriage, but you have to let that happen. You need to stop self self sabotaging. I can talk, I promise. You need to stop self sabotaging. And think about it. This is going to sound familiar to some of you. I know it. Your marriage is going to be going along just beautifully and things are happy and peaceful. And then all of a sudden, for whatever reason, a fight starts. And you're like, wow, things are going so good. Why all of a sudden we're up in a tizzy, right? That's called self-sabotaging because your brain is now wired. Things have gotten too comfortable and too peaceful. Your brain is now, this is scientifically proven, by the way, your brain is now wired to be like, hey, you know what? There hasn't been a fight in a while. Hopefully everything's okay. And then you start conjuring up worries. I'm trying to figure out how to explain this correctly. But so basically your subconscious is like, okay, things are peaceful and I'm worried that if something bad happens, then we're gonna our heart's gonna get broken and we're gonna be so disappointed. And so your mind starts worrying about silly things or starts creating an argument because it's it's almost like you don't it's your subconscious isn't allowing you to just stay peaceful. And this is how you combat that, by the way. When, let's say, a situation happens where it's like, oh my goodness, a fight is suddenly laid at your feet, or a situation. Husband comes home late from work, or he says something that's somewhat, hurtful or whatever for whatever reason. Instead, you say, or you start feeling like that, or you start getting paranoid and you start overthinking things like, why is he home late? What reasons could he be home late? And your head starts filling with all these ridiculous things. You stop it immediately and say, no, things are good. He loves me. I love him. And then you say, thank you, worry and anxiety or whatever emotion it is you're feeling for coming. I know because it's trying to protect you from getting hurt. Say, thank you for coming. Thank you for trying to protect us. But we're good here. You can go now. And then you show it out the door and you breathe it away. Whatever you got to do, tap through it. I don't care. Whatever kind of therapy method you have, put on some positive music or whatever and just assume the best in everyone, right? So when we have to reiterate, because I gotta get going on my grocery shopping, but when we have the these things come up, these potential arguments or an actual argument is laid at our feet and that person is upset, don't pick up the argument. Instead, be humble, be peaceful, be understanding, accept what they accept what you may have done wrong. And even if you didn't do anything wrong and they just misunderstood the whole thing, be humble about it and say, "Oh, I'm so sorry that you saw it that way or you heard it that way or you took it that way. I'm so sorry that I came across that way. That was not my intention at all. I would I would never intentionally, hurt you. I'm so sorry. I had no idea that you were feeling that way or that you were going through that when I said what I said. I had no idea. I didn't make any kind of connection at all. I was just being silly. And like, well, you should have really thought, you should think about what you say before you say it, right? Maybe you get that and just like, you're right, I should. And I'm so sorry. I just, you know, I didn't realize, how I said would affect. I just really didn't, right? Being humble and understanding and apologizing for whatever, right? And then and then once they realize you're not on the defense, right? Sometimes in some situations they're upset and they're just going to banter it all out. And and you're gonna stand there and you're gonna take it and you're gonna be like, "I'm so sorry you felt that way. Oh my goodness." And maybe they just totally misconstrued the entire situation, whatever it was, and it's allow them to be upset, allow them to rant for a minute, and then wait, be patient. Your turn will come to explain. And just like and when they finally, their silence comes and you're like, "I'm so sorry. I That is not at all what happened. What actually happened was this, and I'm so sorry it looked that way, but actually such and such and such. And I can see, make sure you validate. I can see how you saw it that way. I'm sure I would have saw it that way too if blah blah blah. You know what I mean? Because if you go to them just like, well, you should blah blah blah, understand before you start spouting off because they're just gonna shut down, right? They People feel and see how they feel and see it. We can't control that, but we can help bring them to an understanding. And we can do it when our emotions are in check and we are able to back things up with meekness and with love and with understanding and with forgiveness. Immediately on the spot, as much as possible, forgive them on the spot. Say they just don't understand. And that's okay. They're human. They're faulty. I'm human. I'm faulty. Like, it's okay. We misunderstand each other all the time. And it's okay. Doesn't make us bad people. It just makes us human, right? Nobody's perfect. And we're not going to ever be perfect in this life. That's just the way it is. And God's always there, standing by you, helping you to have a happy and most abundant life. But you have to choose it. Every time you are faced with emotions, you get to choose whether those emotions stay or whether you thank them and they leave. Say, hey, thanks, but you're good. We're good. We don't need you anymore. I mean, thanks for coming. Not necessary. We're good here. Or you can choose to allow them to stay. You can choose them to allow them to, you know, be the driving force of whatever you're going to say and whatever you choose to do. It's all up to you, right? So the choice is yours. It's laid before you. When an argument is there, don't pick it up. Don't pick it up. All right. Well, I hope you all have a wonderful day. Remember, our words matter. Everything we say is powerful and has an effect on ourselves and on our loved ones and everyone around us. Let your words be a light and a wonderful thing to all the hearers. Have a great day. Rock on.